Hey guys, what's up? Jules here for WhatCulture.com, and I want to talk to you today about Warhammer. I bloody love Warhammer, whether it's in its Age of Sigmar variant or in the war-torn future battlescape of 40k. I just love putting the boot in with them dice. And one of the main things that I love about the game is the sheer number of tactical options available to you. But I can see from a newcomer's perspective, that could be a little bit daunting. Therefore, I was intrigued when Games Workshop released Shadespire last year, a two-player box set with warbands that you could count on two hands, a 30-minute match time and a price tag well below any core set. I played it, I loved it, and I'd recommend it to anyone willing to give Warhammer a go and to seasoned veterans of the game for its fast and frantic gameplay. Yet, as within Age of Sigmar with the Souls Wars core set, moving it into its version 2 status, so too does Nightvault for Shadespire. Now, luckily Games Workshop gave me this early copy for me to review, and I'm going to share my thoughts with you lovely people today. So the question is, are we going to let this invade our tomb, or is it just leaving me feeling a bit dusty? Well, let's find out. Did you know that WhatCulture also does a board game? It's true, we do, and you can purchase it at shop.whatculture. Who knows, I might even sign a copy or two to devalue them a little bit. So let's begin by answering every single hardcore miniature fan's burning question: are the models any good? Yes. It seems like with every new edition, GW are trying to burst brains with how beautifully posed their models are, while at the same time being push fit, meaning minimal fuss and no glue required. I managed to get the two included forces, Dawns of the Briar Queen and Stormsire's Cursebreakers, built up within an hour, and they look absolutely spectacular, with genuinely special love given to the Briar Queen's Rose Thorn tendrils. I love it! Shame about the face though. Following on from this immaculate presentation are the manual and learn to play booklets that are so simple that a beginner can pick up and play this within about 30 minutes of reading. Now, the learn to play section just walks you through a straight up slog, which of course I definitely enjoy, and then once you've done that a few times you can graduate to the core rulebook, which has seen a fair few tweaks. Now, thankfully, the main rules remain fairly intact. You can make up to 4 actions or activations per phase. There's 3 phases in a game, and you can draw a hand from a deck of cards which builds not only your objectives your team needs to complete, but also which powers they can use. These can be exchanged and drawn again after each phase and vary from simply holding objectives to surrounding opponents, or even just how much damage you can inflict in a single round, aka my favorite tactic. Each objective you scores gives you glory points, and the most at the end of the game wins. Now, the best thing is that you can edit these decks. They actually provide you with another bundle that you can just start mixing in and make your own crazy customizable forces, and you can use the old Shadespire to bolster your cards even more. Woo! There's a lot of cards in play. Characters have stats such as move, attack, defense, and damage, but the real interesting facets are the inspired requirements. If you meet these, you can flip over your character card, buffing your fighter in numerous ways and giving you new moves to grief your opponents with. However, things get really interesting with the 2 new features, lethal hexes and magic. Now, technically lethal hexes were added into the board expansion for the original Shadespire, but here they are fully integrated, and they do much like what you'd expect. If your fighter moves over them or ends up being pushed into one, as is more likely the case, they will take damage, meaning you can chain together some truly nasty combos. Magic, on the other hand, proves to be the biggest addition, adding in ranged combat to the game and opening up a huge new way to play. In order to cast spells, you need to roll some very fancy new dice and pray to Nagash that they come up with the symbols that you need. Now, these can be dispelled if your opponent is willing to sacrifice a very useful counter spell card from their hand. But if they don't and it goes ahead, you can strike out and attack enemies from distance, open the very ground out from underneath them to swallow them whole, or buff your allies, creating some seriously OP people. Now, I'll level with you. I was worried that this was going to change the game too much, that magic might result in teams being able to wipe out other warbands before they could even get close. But in my numerous play sessions, I found that the winds of magic are fickle beasts and rewarded as much as they punished. It's yet another layer to this lovely game, and I for one see it as game-changing, but not game-breaking, something for which I'm very grateful for. So how do the two teams shape up? Well, across my time, I found that when it came to capturing objectives quickly and getting up into the faces of enemies, the Thorns are unbeatable. With their inspired move characteristic of being 4 hexes and the ability to move all chain rafts by 2 hexes as a special action of one of their dastardly crew, you end up with the ability to slingshot your forces forward and just absolutely reap the benefits. Top stuff. They can also glide through occupied and lethal hexes to surround foes, much to the chagrin of my opponents. However, I have to admit, when it comes to brute strength and magical prowess, it's the Sigmarites who know how to hang. They hit hard, they can buff themselves, and they can shoot goddamn lightning. So yeah, I struggled quite a few times to get them off objectives. And in fact, if you are playing as them, plant them down like trees and just watch people bounce off them. But what it means is that you couldn't ask for 2 different playstyles, and that's exactly what you want in a game like this: variation. Now, it is a wonder how previous warbands are going to fit into this newly magically charged arena, but you have to remember, while spells can hit hard, they're only as good as the spellcaster. And wouldn't it be a shame if that spellcaster, say, happened to fall down into a lethal chasm? Wouldn't that be a shame? I will say though that if I had one major criticism to level at the game, it would be that it's quite punishing if you happen to succumb to naff dice. A well-orchestrated attack can fall to pieces with some bad rolls, and when opponents can score huge amounts of glory points with certain objectives, it can be tough to catch up. However, that's the shape of the game, not in how it's implemented, and I don't see many being put off by this. I also do wish that the boards have been a bit more themed towards the new setting, maybe showcasing the raw magic that's floating about. The images provided are well produced, but I feel that maybe some of the detail is lost under the white hexes. Yet for its low price point and what you get in the set, it is impossible for me not to recommend Nightvault. I mean, you get 2 factions, you get new customizable decks, updated rules, and you get to play around with that saucy magic. But the best thing about all of this is that Shadespire is going to receive full support in store with tournaments, competitions, and that means that there's always going to be somebody to play against, and that is how you keep a game alive. So yeah, Nightvault, you've won me over, you're pretty goddamn good. 4.5 stars, you're welcome. And there we go, those were my thoughts on Nightvault. Let me know what you thought about it down in the comments section below, and whether or not you're going to be picking it up for yourselves. If you're in the Newcastle area, let's have a game. I'll bloody smash ya. As always, I've been Jules. You can follow me at RetroJ with a 0 on Twitter. You've been awesome, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.